Okay, so this is part two of your introduction to Excel. Just working through the intro to Excel worksheet here. We finished number one and two in the first video. Number three asks you to write a few sentences describing the distribution of family income. Um, I want to hold off on talking more about this, but you need at least three sentences. One to describe the shape of the distribution. In this case, the distribution is skewed right. We know that from looking at the graph, and because the mean is greater than the median. Um, you want to talk about the center of the distribution. Because this distribution is skewed, we want to use the median and talk about what the typical family is making and actually quote the number from the median. And then you also want to talk about the spread. Since this distribution is skewed, you would want to use IQR to talk about how much family income varies. All right, number four, go to the second tab in the spreadsheet and make a side-by-side box plot of income by gender, and then paste your graph below. Okay, so pop over to Excel. You want to be on the second tab here called side-by-side box plots and pivot tables. So what we're going to do, we are going to highlight all three columns of data, and then go to Insert and go to back to box plot. And it's going to pop up a box plot, but there's a lot of stuff we need to do to fix it to show what we want. So I'm going to start by making it a little bit bigger. Okay. So to make a side-by-side box plot, you want to make sure that you're clicked on the original graph it gave you, and then you want to go up here to select data. So right up here on the menu screen, you click on that, and it's going to open up a little box. Okay, so here we're going to need to adjust a few things. Here in this, the box on the left, this menu box, this is a list of the things that we want to be graphing on our box plot. We only want to make a graph of total family income. So I'm going to go to race. I'm going to click the minus sign to delete it. And I'm going to delete the gender line because I only want to graph total family income. Okay. Over here in name, it has some stuff filled out. I'm going to click in here and highlight all the way to the end of the box. Yes, the name of the data set that I'm graphing is in cell A1. That's where the words total family income appear. So that's fine. I don't need to change anything. Then you go to this Y values box. Click in here and then highlight all the way to the end. And this is asking where is the data that you want to graph. And our income data is in fact in cell A2 through A499. So that's all set. We don't need to change anything about it. The box that's blank here says horizontal category. So this is asking us, what do you want to break up the data by? In our case, we want to break up the data by gender, because that's what the assignment asks us to do. So click into this box where it says horizontal axis labels. And then the first cell I see that has gender in it, I'm going to go over here and click on it. So that's in cell C2, right? So I click here, and a bunch of stuff shows up in the box here for horizontal category. Again, I'm going to click in here and highlight to the end. Get my cursor there. The gender data goes from cell C2, so it says $C, do $2, colon, and this data set goes all the way down to 499, so $C, $499. Right. Then I'm going to click OK. So I'll leave this up here so you can see it for a second. You can pause it if you need. All right, so when I click OK, I've got my side-by-side box plot. So in this data set, when you look at the top of the column for gender, it says that 1 corresponds to male and 0 corresponds to female. So this box plot over here on the left is the box plot for females, and over here on the right, that's the box plot for males. Always change the title. Box plot of family income by gender. Okay, and so then there are things that you can do to change the format, like we did before. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to go over here to the menu and choose the paint bucket because I want to change the fill. I don't like that nasty blue. I'm going to change it again to little dots. So let's say the next question you were going to be asked was to write a few sentences comparing the distribution of family income by gender. You would need the 5-number summary. On the previous video, we used commands to figure that out. There's also a way to have Excel do it for you automatically once you have a box plot up here. So if I go over here up to quick layout, this has a couple different popular formats for box plots. Notice this one, the second one, it has little numbers next to each of the lines on the box plot. So if you select that one, what it will do is it will think for a second, and then it will actually put the numbers for the 5-number summary onto the box plot for you. So the minimum down here was, so I'm looking at the left one for females. The minimum was 0. Q1 was 25,234. The median for females was 57,509. And here's Q3. And this up here is the maximum. It's an outlier. We'll talk about that in class, but I like my graphs to have horizontal lines so we can look and be able to read the vertical axis better. So up here under chart design, we can click one of these. Hopefully we'll put lines on there. Will it? I don't know. Oh, there we go. But then it changed. It took the numbers off. Anyway, totally erased my title. It's very upsetting. Anyway, so those are a couple things that you can do. I'm not going to paste this graph over to my Word document yet because the title got erased. It's upsetting. And graphs without titles are tragedy by gender. And family has an A in it. All right. And paste my box plot here. All right. So let's go. This doesn't ask you to do this on. Okay, let's go on to number 5. Okay, so number 5 asks you to make what's called a pivot table. So pivot tables are how we can compare across more than one variable at once. So in the box plot we just made, we were comparing income across gender. We could also have adapted that box plot to break down by race and been able to look at box plots across racial groups. But Excel does not have a way to make box plots that are broken up by both race and gender at the same time. However, we can make a table that will help us. So tables in Excel that allow you to look at statistics by 2 different variables at once are called pivot tables. Pivot table, but with a B. So I'm going to go back over here to Excel. And delete this box plot. And let's see if I remember how to do this. Let's go to Tools. So up at the top of your screen, there is a okay. At the top of your screen, there should be a menu called Data. You want to go to Data, or here, Data, and there will be an option to Summarize with Pivot Table. So you want to click on that. And we want to use the data in cells A1 all the way over to C499. Okay, so that's where our data is in this spreadsheet. Then you can also just have highlighted the 3 columns. And we are going to put the pivot table on the spreadsheet where we're working now. Or put it on a new worksheet. Okay, so this will pop up, and this is where you're going to build your pivot table. In a pivot table, you have to decide which variable is going to be the rows, which variable is going to be the columns, and then which variable you're actually analyzing in the table. So in the Word document, we are told to make a pivot table with race as the column and gender as the row. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click race, and I'm going to drag it to the columns. So race is going to be my column. I'm going to click gender. I'm going to drag it down here to rows, and now gender is going to be my rows. And then total family income, that I'm going to put that in the values box. That's what I want to be analyzing. And this other stuff that's in here I don't need. Okay, so here I only want sum of total family income to be here, so I'm going to click on sum of gender. I don't know why it's here, and just sweep it away. Okay, so right now I have a table. The 2 columns here are gender, so the 0 row is for females, and then the 1 is for males. The numbers it's displaying right now is the sum of everybody's family income in there, and that's not very useful to me. I don't really care about the sum of income. So what I'm going to do is you come down here to the values box down here in the lower right corner, and I'm going to click on the little I. I think. Okay, so yeah, you click on the little I. And then, so this is where you choose what you want your pivot table to display. So the first thing in the Word document asks us to figure out how many people are in each category. So that's just the count of how many people are in each category. So I'm going to choose count and then click OK. And the table will change. So there were 145 people who had a 0 for their gender and 1 is their race. If we look at the code, that corresponds to white females. So there were 145 white females in this data set, 149 white males, 74 black females, 65 black males, and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to copy this and go over to my Word document and paste it in. Okay. All right, and then the second part of the question asked me to do this table, but to have the average family income for each group. So again, I'm going to come back over here to Excel. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on the I again because I want to change what's in the table. Instead of showing the count for each group, I'm going to choose average. So choose average and click OK. Now the table has average income for each group. So the average family income for white females was $82,623. Average family income for white males was $90,931. And each of these boxes represents each section, each pairs of groups by race and gender. If you look over here, these grand totals. So if I start at 0, so that's females, and I go all the way across to grand total, 69,835. That's the average family income for all females combined. So all the races combined. The average for all males combined was 80,759. And then in the columns, that gives you the total average for both genders and each racial group. So this down here, that's the average per group. So I'm going to copy this and put it in my Word document. And that's it. I will see you all in class. Good job. Now you're Excel experts.